Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to the shoe. This is the Cathedral of College Football. Most weeks, and certainly today, it's the biggest game in the country with the number 3 and number 7 nationally ranked teams on the field below us. Brendan Gulick and Anthony Moeglin with you for a quick pregame report on Buckeyes Now. And Anthony, it's actually gotten better since the news broke about an hour ago. The original news, Travion Henderson would be out today, along with Denzel Burke, with Emeka Egbuka questionable. We have since learned that Travion's game day status here has been upgraded to questionable. So it seems like he's going to get out there and do some light work, try to give it a go. Just before we started, I looked behind me and you can see Emeka Egbuka doing some light work down on the field as well. He's trying to get ready. I know the Buckeyes are sure hopeful to be at full strength today because this is certainly one of the 3 big games on their schedule this year.
Yeah, no question. You'd really love if Travion can go, right? You know, and you love that out of him. Like, hey, coach, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, just put me out there. Let's see if I can get through it. Let's see if I can work on it. And your fingers are crossed for Buckeye fans across the nation, because if Travion's out there, Ohio State's a better team and they have a better chance to win this afternoon. Same with Emeka Egbuka.
I mean, and the good news is, you know, I think we can safely assume that Mayan Williams and Chip Trainum are going to be full go without any issues. They were not listed on the game day status report. For anyone that is not familiar with how Ohio State handles these things, the Buckeyes never talk about injuries in specifics. When they release a status report a few hours before kickoff on any given week, they simply list whether someone is questionable or whether someone is out. They don't list probabilities. They don't list whether or not a guy's been dealing with an injury leading up to a game and whether or not he practiced during the week. So there's some limited information there, but the good news is, where there is an absence of a name on that status report, that generally means 2 thumbs up. So I expect that Chip Trainum and Mayan Williams are going to be able to play and that they should be at full strength. And that's obviously important because if Travion Henderson, who is now questionable, is not able to give it 100% today, the Buckeyes need depth in that room for sure.
No question about it, especially with how we talked even yesterday, how this game's going to go. It's potentially going to turn into a little bit of a battle. And if you got your horses in the backfield ready to go, you know, that makes you feel a lot better. So, you know, you're hoping that group can, you know, get through pregame and you'll find out, hey, exactly what it's going to be. And then just unleash them when it's time to go.
And look, you know, Denzel Burke being out today stinks because he has had a terrific season so far, looking much more like the freshman All-American we saw 2 years ago than what we saw last year in a fairly disappointing season for him. Not having him out there is not going to be great for Ohio State. Jermaine Matthews, though, has played fairly well. He's going to slot in, and it's time to see next man up in that regard. The rest of the availability report was not a surprise, guys that had not regularly been available. So other than those guys, Ohio State's at full strength, and I still think, as we talked about leading up to this game, I still think that Ohio State's offensive line is going to be under quite a magnifying glass today. If they can keep Kyle McCord upright and give Ohio State a chance to develop a run game early, the Buckeyes are going to be okay. If they can't run the football, Anthony, it's going to be a 60-minute knockdown, drag out, mentally you've got to stay sharp kind of game.
Hey, it's going to be a war, and they know that going in. That's the exciting part about it. And I think that was one of the cool things you and I spoke about yesterday is this has potential to be a 60-minute battle, man. And the best part is that Ohio State's tested for it. You think back to the Notre Dame game where they had to go 60 minutes. They had to go 59 minutes and 57 seconds before they took that last lead. And then you think back to Maryland, you had that first half where you had to grind and really battle all game long. They have that experience. Penn State does not. So when it does get into crunch time and it does get into that fourth quarter and someone's got to make a play, you know, you can look around that Ohio State room and there's guys in there that are confident that everyone can get it done and get the job done.
This is the second straight week that Ohio State was planning on having poor weather on Saturday. Last week, the forecast in Purdue looked miserable all week and ultimately was wet, but not terrible. It rained a little bit during the game. During the week this week, we were looking at, you know, similar weather on Saturday. And now that we're here, hardly a cloud in the sky. It's 60 degrees and sunny. I can see the flags blowing off to the side here up above the top of the stadium. And they're ripping pretty good in the wind. I would say it's a very breezy day, but not like, holy smokes, it's windy. But, I mean, this is like quintessential Big Ten fall football, man. This is a perfect day for a game of this magnitude.
Dude, you looking at your screen, and anybody who watched this, you'd be really hard to tell them you're not in Florida right now. It looks perfect. It looks beautiful, blue skies.
In Florida.
Better than it is where I'm at, but yeah, you definitely look like you're in football heaven right there.
It's a good spot for sure. Hey, we'll answer one question that we saw dropped in the thread here. Question comes, it says, do you think Sonny will get much more play today? That's a really interesting question because Sonny Styles, I think, deserves to be on the field in meaningful moments. What I am interested to see is how, not more is he used, but how he's used, because I think he's been the kind of guy where in certain situations he's on the field maybe a little bit more pass happy. And then when Ohio State wants to bring in an extra linebacker, or if they want to bring in Jordan Hancock in a nickel setting, we've seen Sonny come off the field a little bit more in those situations. I think Ohio State will probably use 3 linebackers a little bit more often today because I am under the impression Penn State's going to try to run the football better. I'm not saying Drew Aller isn't going to try to air it out. We just haven't seen a lot of that from them this year. But they also might feel like they need to take those kinds of shots because I don't think Penn State is going to have the same level of great starting field position that they've had in games past where they haven't had to take deep shots down the field. So I'm expecting them to run it. I'm expecting them to lean heavily on their offensive line. And so Ohio State's defense, in my opinion, Anthony, means they're going to be a little more run heavy in the box, and maybe that would take Sonny out of the equation more, but maybe Jim Knowles will decide to leave him in.
Yeah, we'll see. You'll know early kind of what the idea is, and if it's more along the lines of what you're saying, where it's going to be more of those bigger bodies, get a couple more linebackers in there, or if Penn State's going to try to spread it out, and we'll see. But anytime 6 is on the field, you feel good about it. Whether it's in the run game or in the pass game. So we'll see how they use them today. And this will be really fun to see the chess match that Jim Knowles is in on the defensive side, and the chess match that Brian Hartline and Ryan Day are in on the offensive side, because both of these groups, Penn State's offense versus Ohio State's defense, and Ohio State's defense versus Penn State's offense, both groups it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I just don't expect it to be a high-scoring game because I think defense, it's not even just that their defense is strong for both teams. It's that those defensive units are truly among the most elite defensive units in the country. And I realize that there are 2 good offenses here. Penn State, there's a lot of people that say like, Penn State's offense is overrated. I mean, they did score 31 points on an Iowa defense that's very good this year. And they haven't been explosive, but they've been efficient. And they score when they have chances to score. Their time of possession has been fantastic. So, I'm expecting Penn State to give Ohio State a good challenge when the Nittany Lions have the football. I don't think Penn State is going to be this incredible offense that's going to come in here and drop 40 points. I'd be really surprised if that's the case. So I'm anticipating it being a low-scoring game because I think both defenses are going to play well. But I also think both offenses have enough playmakers that if you give them space and let them loose, they can change the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I'm definitely aligned with it being a low-scoring game. I've said it a couple times. I think it's going to be, one of those classic boxing matches where it goes 10, 12 rounds, and these guys are just kind of fighting each other all game long, and then something's going to break towards the end, and you just hope that Ohio State's ready when that opportunity does arise, whether it's on offense or whether Aller gives a ball that can be picked off or anything that could happen. When the chance is there and the opportunity is there, the Buckeyes need to take advantage of it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. 12 noon kickoff on Fox. Hope you enjoy the game wherever you might be watching from. And again, in case you just joined us, the big news pregame is that Travion Henderson's status has been upgraded from out to questionable. As best we can tell, we will keep you updated. You can follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Brendan Gulick 22. And we'll let you know over on BuckeyesNow _FN as well. Please subscribe to this channel. We'll have plenty of coverage coming for you post-game here as well as we break down Ohio State and Penn State. Truly one of the premier games in college football every year, and it's finally here in Columbus. Biggest home game of the season for the Bucs. I'm certain they'll be ready and can't wait to see how Ohio State plays this afternoon. For Anthony Moeglin, I'm Brendan Gulick. See you back in the shoe post-game. In the meantime, enjoy the game and hope you'll follow us on BuckeyesNow.com for all the latest.